Right then, England's first post-Gareth Southgate squad has been announced, and Angel Gomes is in it. Lee Carsley has decided to bring in Angel Gomes. Lots of new faces as well joining there. Livramento is going to be in there. Morgan Gibbs-White is also in there. Madueke is in there as well. But Angel Gomes is the one that I think catches the eye for Manchester United fans, and certainly for myself as well. You might remember him as the young lad that came through the ranks at Manchester United. I first saw him aged 13 playing under 16s for Manchester United, wearing a shirt that looked like a parachute, and I was like, wow, unbelievable. And Angel's had he's been moved around a fair bit as he was finding his feet, and was always going to take a second or two because of his size to adapt to men's football. But for those of us who remember his debut, you'll know that even on his debut there was a lot of obvious talent there for him, and I think Angel's story is always one of what could have been at United. I think it's still a huge downer that it didn't work out for him at Old Trafford, but I almost kind of understand why he had to step away to go and get his start in men's football. But let's have a look at his journey, coming through the youth at Manchester United and then going on and hopefully becoming an England international this weekend. So Angel Gomes joined Manchester United at the age of 6. His father, Gil, is a former professional footballer and under-21 international with Portugal. He was playing with Hendon before moving his family up to the northwest where they settled, and he kind of did the rounds in non-league, as happens, and that's where they grew up, in Salford, actually. Now, Angel earned his stripes at junior level with England, representing every single age group from the under-16s all the way through to the under-21s before he got his first senior call-up this week. Now, for England, Angel was the captain of the side that won the under-17s World Cup. It had an incredible squad, the likes of Phil Foden, Jadon Sancho, Mark Guehi, as well as Angel in there as well. After rising through United's academy, he went on to make 10 appearances for United, including the one which saw him become the youngest ever player to represent the first team since Duncan Edwards in 1953, when he made his debut aged just 16. But despite being the youngest player, Angel struggled to establish himself and make a lasting impact at Manchester United, where that smaller stature and playing profile was seen as a bit of a limiting factor when it comes to a physically demanding Premier League and a Manchester United that wasn't exactly conducive to bringing through academy players and giving them an environment where they could thrive. Obviously, you saw how long it took Manchester City to eventually blood Phil Foden in, and that was while they was being ultra successful. United didn't have that option. And despite the technical skill that is undoubtedly there for him, he found it difficult to break into the first team on a regular basis and hold down a first choice spot. But after he left Old Trafford in 2020 for a move to Lille, he's really established himself, really turned it around. In France, he has thrived in a more tactically flexible and probably less physical environment, especially after going to Portugal, where obviously he's going to be familiar with the language, and established himself out on loan at Boa Vista. Now, Angel's skill set is likely going to see him thrive as an advanced 8 or a 10, but he's actually been successful, and for England as well, as a number 6, as almost like a Pirlo sort of deep-line playmaker. But the defensive side of the game, at times, can bypass him, or he can be targeted in that area. In that area of the pitch, you do have to have a little bit of an aerial presence. That's generally one of the areas that you see direct balls kind of punted up to, and if you've not got that sort of aerial presence, you can get overrun just a little bit. So he has to find where he's going to play, and a lot of teams don't play with a number 10 either. So it's been a bit of a journey to find where works for him. Now, he's played in a little bit of a double pivot at Lille, and he often plays next to Andre, who is the club captain. Under Fonseca, Lille deployed a very high line, and they had very possession-heavy tactics. That suits Angel down to the ground because he is a playmaker. He's someone that's going to get on the ball, get on the turn, and make things happen. His vision is fantastic. His strength as a first-phase receiver is not just underrated, it's really, really high level. And from there, he can carry the ball forward either by dribbling or he can break lines with his passing, and his ability to impact the game from there is second to none, really. And that's why you see him being so successful and doing the things that he does. But he also gets the ball in the second phase. He's able to break lines and create things in the final third. He provides countless positive influences into that final third for that Lille team. And defensive weaknesses, which, let's be honest about them, they're not really, it's certainly not his strong point, but the defensive weaknesses rarely seem to have an impact on that team's general play, because he does press, he does get after people, he is hard to shake when he's tracking you down because of that agility and lateral movement that he's got. Now, let's talk about Ligue 1 a little bit. Now, would Angel's physical shortcomings prevent him from succeeding in the Premier League? Now, there are a few standout examples of players that have managed to thrive in the Premier League despite their height. And the French League is regarded as one of the most physically similar to the Premier League. Players are strong and they are quick. The play is technical, but that physical presence is also a massive factor in French football. So I think it would be very lazy analysis. I think when he went to Portugal, I think that was the exact move at the exact time that he needed to have it, because Portugal is not a very physical and it is not a very fast league. And that allowed him to go and establish himself when he was on loan at Boavista into first team football. And he came then back into France as someone who had actually played a number of games of first team football. And he took then to playing in the French league. It took him a minute. It wasn't immediately fantastic, but he has adapted and he has learned and he has become the player that we thought he could be. People really like to ham up the physical kind of nature of the Premier League, and people would have you believe that he would fail in the Premier League. He is a little bit of an anomaly in France, but I think that highlights the qualities that he brings when he's in possession of the ball. He's got quick feet. He's got versatility. That's allowed him to make a name for himself, not just in France, but on the European stage as well. He's becoming highly regarded as a player that will ghost past you and make something out of absolutely nothing. Now, when you compare him to some of his midfield counterparts, Gomes is showing every single week that he has the know-how, that real sort of intelligent, tactical football IQ to be able to progress play and keep hold of the ball. He boasts a very, very high pass completion of 88%, which is incredible considering the sort of versatility that you see from him. Some weeks he will play as a 10. He's often featured on the wing. Sometimes he's in the double pivot. And that high percentage pass just comes off because that's what he does. It's almost unthinkable that he can be so consistent playing in so many different areas of the pitch. He's in the 99th percentile for pass completion for attacking midfielders and wingers. That puts him in the 86th percentile for central midfielders and defensive midfielders. But it highlights the duality of the role that he's being asked to play. He is a player that keeps control of the ball and he creates chances. He's in the 88th percentile for midfielders for shot creating actions. That's damn impressive. He at least represents Carrington well, and the grounding that he's had, through his family, but also coming through Manchester United. So what does that mean for the future for him? I think he probably should stay at Lille for at least another season and continue to develop. He has got excellent development so far, and the manager that he's playing under is doing quite well for them. And you could see him refine his game and maybe even establish a more concrete position just that little bit more. If he wanted to leave Lille, or even at a later stage if he wanted to leave Lille, there would be a lot of big clubs interested in signing him. Past rumours have linked him to a move with, Chelsea, but I think I've also been linked with Chelsea myself, so I don't know how much you read into that one. But they definitely wouldn't be the only ones that would be looking to attract Angel's services. I don't think it could have been easy leaving Manchester United, especially for Lille, who then went and loaned him. It didn't look like it was going to kick on for him. But he is motivated, he has got bottle, he has got a great family and support network around him. It's worked for him, and it doesn't always work for everyone. So fair play to him. I am really, really happy to see an ex-academy graduate of Manchester United going out into the world and making something happen for themselves. And I'm really happy for him getting the call up for England. They've got a progressive manager as an interim. That's obviously going to have a look at players that might offer something to that England squad going forward. Whether or not he gets the cap now, he's in the system. He's in the eye of whoever comes in as the permanent England manager. And Angel had the following to say upon leaving Manchester United. He said, I had to follow my heart. I felt like if I stayed, there wouldn't have been a lot of opportunities for me. On the last day, it was difficult for me to say goodbye to everyone, finish training and be surrounded by your teammates who you've played with since you were little. Having to leave, it was a difficult moment, leaving Carrington knowing I would never go back. It was the only home I'd ever known. Coming back home wasn't pleasant, and neither was getting all of my stuff back. I was looking for more playing time, more consistency, and a plan for my future. I came to Lille, who offered me a good structure and a good project. I have no regrets in life. So I think it's beyond any sort of shadow of a doubt that it was the right move at the right time for Angel. I don't think his development would have been the same if he'd have stayed in the Premier League. I think a lot of youngsters can learn from this. Sometimes the badge on the tracksuit isn't as important as the opportunities that you're able to get, and playing adult football as early as you can is the best way for you to develop. Do I think United would ever come back in for him? Well, I would say never say never. I would say never say never. I certainly wouldn't be putting him top of any sort of transfer list that we're looking to get in now. I think we're okay for those sort of advanced playmakers, which is the role I think probably suits him the most. But I hope he does well for England. I wouldn't like to see him in an opposition shirt because I know his quality. You know, maybe he stays in France. Maybe he ends up having a decent career there. Maybe he goes to one of the bigger teams in Portugal with the heritage he's got from there. Maybe one day he comes back for Manchester United. But either way, good luck to him on getting that England call-up, and good luck to him if he manages to pull on a shirt for his senior debut. He's absolutely deserved it. Well done. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.